Now before we get into this week's video, a few quick things. Number one, thank you guys for all the love and positive feedback recently. In all my years of YouTube, I've never gotten this much, so thank you. It means a lot. Number two, my poster is up on my merch store, the 4 different color flannel poster. You guys asked for it, so it's up there. First link in the description. And number 3, we've got another dessert to make today. On this week's Instagram poll, I gave you guys the best homemade pasta, 4 Chipotle recipes, a sheet pan calzone, and the Neapolitan Swiss roll. So that's 3 normal savory meals and then 1 dessert. And then by 1 percentage point, the Swiss roll won. This does look good and I have wanted to try it for a while. It's basically just different flavors of cake rolled out in a really thin layer with some fresh buttercream icing in the middle. It should come out pretty good. I'm excited to make it, so let's get right into it. So guys, the Swiss roll. This is mainly just made up of 3 different flavors of cake and some frosting. It's pretty straightforward stuff, so I grabbed a box of vanilla cake mix, some sour cream, oddly enough, some cocoa powder and strawberry jello, a little bit of oil, some water, and 6 eggs. And we are first going to start with the boxed cake mix. So I grabbed 6 eggs, gave those a bit of a mix before adding in a little bit of water and oil, a 1/4 cup of each. Our package of store-bought cake mix, I'm sorry for those of you out there that are gonna be mad at this. A little bit of sour cream, very strangely. I'm not sure what this does for it, but I threw it in there, and then I equally divided this mixture into 3 separate bowls. In the first bowl, I threw in about a tablespoon of the cocoa powder, and this changed the color a lot more than I thought just 1 tablespoon was going to. With my second one, I used 3 tablespoons of this strawberry jello. Very odd combination, cake mix and jello, but we'll see how it comes out. And then I just transferred all 3 of those mixtures over to my piping bags. I snipped off the tips of the bags, and then I began to pipe onto my cookie sheet lined with some parchment paper and some butter. Now I tried really hard to keep each one of my colors about 1.5 to 2 inches wide. Some of them were a little bit more runny than others, but I did the best. At the end, I tapped out the cookie sheet to get any air bubbles out of the top, and then you're gonna pop that in a 350-degree oven for only 7 minutes. And while that's baking, I whipped up my delicious buttercream recipe. As always, I am using my Cupcake Addictions recipe. This is by far the best one. If you need a good buttercream recipe, I'll leave this in the description. It's basically just a bunch of powdered sugar. I sifted that out first, and then some softened butter. You want to whip the heck out of this butter and make it super airy and light. Slowly add in your powdered sugar, and at the very tail end, just dump in a tad bit of vanilla extract and whole milk. That's pretty much it. Of course, you can taste this along the way. You can adjust the sugar or the vanilla if you need a little bit more, or if you're like me, eat tablespoons at a time of it and make yourself want to borderline throw up. But now that that's ready to go, I grabbed my cake out of the oven, and while this is still hot, you want to flip it over onto a clean dish towel. Remove the paper, even though it took off a lot of the cake sticking to it. And then slowly roll up this cake in this towel. I was so nervous here, I was ready for the cake to just split in half or just crumble in my fingers, but it didn't. I had it rolled up. I let that cool for about 30 minutes in that shape, eventually unrolling it, and surprisingly this looks pretty darn good and intact. The very last thing I did was plopped on a bunch of my buttercream. Just make sure your cake is completely cool whenever you're icing any type of cake, or else your icing will melt and run right off the side. But I got a nice even coat of my frosting on my cake. I rolled it back up. And guys, I'm not trying to like gas myself up or anything, but this looks almost exactly like Tasty's, maybe even a little bit better. It's got much more frosting in the middle, so I cut myself a slice. It's looking just as good in the middle too, and now it's time to give this a try. Hello, Nolly. Say hi to everyone. Everyone on Twitter really loved your video of you not wanting to go out on a hook. You need to be loose because you're a difficult puppy. And you can't have cake. Not for you. What do you think, guys? I didn't expect the colors to come out so vibrantly. That's like a really nice strawberry pink. Nice chocolate. That's good. I never really thought to mix Jell-O with cake mix before. I'm sure you could do like a homemade cake mix and throw some Jell-O in there too. My buttercream is definitely on the sweeter side. I don't know if I could eat much more than this piece I have. This is really good and cool looking. I think the whole process, including baking and letting it cool down, was maybe an hour and 20 minutes. Besides my frosting being a little bit too sweet, I really have no complaints, so I'll give it a solid 9.6 out of 10. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, slap a like on this one. I have some more Sunday DIYs for you coming up. Not this week, but very soon, so look out for those. Again, my poster is on sale. I made it as cheap as possible. It's over on my website, so that link is in the description. It's starting to pour on my head. I gotta get out of here. Have an awesome weekend, and other than that, I'll see you right back here next time. It's actually really pouring now. Peace. Come on, Ollie. We gotta go inside. Get out of the rain. Go, go, go.